Good evening, wrestling fans. Welcome to Birmingham, Alabama, and tonight's edition of Rwl Rage. My name's Don Hickson, and joining me will be Christy Ogilvie and Myron Schimmelman. And it is great to be back from my brief sabbatical, but I'm primed and ready to go this evening.
Well, Don, it's good to have you back, I'll tell you that. Oh, let me tell you, you're back just in time. Uncle Myron's got surprises. Listen, tonight's a great 2-hour card, and when I say I got surprises, I'm not kidding. You have got to stick around tonight, fans, because this is going to be off the chain.
It's been cool having that little bit of time off, guys, but I've been ready for some of Myron's surprises. What you got hooked up, you devil?
Oh, you got to see Christy. It's going to be the best.
And so tonight's card begins with the return of Boston Connor of the Toxic Table, and some more of Myron Schimmelman's shenanigans as he is set to go one-on-one against Cactus Jack.
I figured why not? Let's start early.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rwl Rage. Our opening match is scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle, along with AJ Hawk, representing the Toxic Table, height, weight, and hometown unknown, here's Boston. Connor.
And here they come. Timu Bruno Sammartino and the Hamburglar, the star of tonight's opening contest, Boston Connor. I gave him Earthquake a couple of weeks ago. They said, oh, well, we still need, a big challenge. Even if it's the opening match, I said, okay, no problem, I got you. They got Cactus Jack tonight.
Myron, honey, do these guys, any of these Toxic Table people, understand that you're doing all this on purpose, throwing meat to hungry lions, instead of people like Doink the Clown? Do any of them have a clue?
Christy, honey, I don't know. They're not very bright. They're aggressively not bright, and I'm going to exploit that to its fullest capacity.
It is a serious game plan, I suppose, Myron. And so tonight, Boston Connor, one-on-one against the most dangerous wrestler in the world, Cactus Jack.
Anyone would swear you're trying to put these guys on the injured list.
They wanted adventure. I gave it to them.
His opponent, along with Terry Funk, from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, weighing 287 pounds, Cactus Jack.
Quite possibly two of the greatest frenemies you're ever going to see. Cactus Jack and Terry Funk, they have been friends, they have been tag team partners, they have been bitter enemies in some of the greatest death matches in pro wrestling history.
And it's a little bit funny, don't you think, that the Funker, Terry Funk, should be standing ringside with Cactus Jack, with AJ Hawk standing ringside for Boston Connor? Does that suggest nothing to you, Don Hickson?
Tex Lynch said it of you, and it is true. You would be a Bond villain if you didn't work here. And once again, it looks like it's going to be Boston Connor cast in the role of the sacrificial lamb. Referee Walt Rothburn sounds the bell. They come center ring. Cactus Jack connects with the right, goes behind, rakes the back of Boston Connor. Boston Connor up in a front cradle. Cactus Jack slams him into the top turnbuckle and turns him out center ring, goes for the cover and hooks the leg. 1, 2, a near fall. Within the first 20 seconds, pretty impressive. Boston Connor with a series of chops. AJ Hawk debating whether or not he's going to get directly involved. A flying elbow off the rope from Boston Connor. Followed up with a stomp to Cactus Jack. Cactus Jack gathered back up to, whoa, and a hard discus punch from Boston Connor. Boston Connor locks up Cactus Jack. Takes him towards the ropes. The Funker, Terry Funk, relaxing at ringside. Here is a disrespectful slap to the face to Cactus Jack, who rolls to the outside. Whoa, here we go. Whoa! A human missile, a flying shoulder to Cactus Jack from Boston Connor. We'll save this for the Toxic Table. They're not afraid to take risks. We are now on the outside with the referee already engaging the count. A series of leg drops to Cactus Jack from Boston Connor. Cactus Jack counters with a dragon screw. Cactus rounds up Boston Connor, drives him into the ring steps. Cactus Jack gathers Boston Connor up again. Pitches him towards A.J. Hawk. A.J. Hawk debating whether or not he's going to get directly involved here. Probably be a wise thing if he didn't. Cactus Jack again drives Boston Connor into the opposing set of ring steps. Does it one more time. Cactus Jack delivering punishment to Boston Connor. Cactus Jack takes himself up to the top turnbuckle. Boston Connor laid out towards center ring, but now standing up to a standing position. There's a double axe handle and a driving knee into the chest of Boston Connor. Cactus Jack fails to connect with that one. A rebound off the ropes and another flying elbow from Boston Connor. A hard overhand right. Cactus Jack whipped out onto the apron. A hard right from Boston Connor. A hard left from Boston Connor. He takes himself out onto the apron with Cactus Jack and slams him into the lip of the apron. Cactus Jack now on the receiving end of the business at the hands of Boston Connor. A DDT on the outside. Referee Walt Rothburn urging these men to get back inside the ring. Boston Connor having absolutely none of it. A disrespectful chop right across the face of Cactus Jack. That is certainly going to leave a mark. Boston Connor winds up the arm and snaps at Terry Funk. Feigning terror at Boston Connor. I'm pretty sure he feels Cactus Jack has this match in the bag. Cactus Jack taking a beating right now at the hands of Boston Connor. There's a dragon screw. The referee continues to count. Boston Connor finally rolling Cactus Jack back inside the ring. Follows him on in himself. Goes for the cover and hooks the leg. One. Only a one. A one count as Boston Connor begins again. Rounds up Cactus Jack, whips him to the ropes and an elbow to the face of Cactus Jack. Cactus Jack quickly rolls back up to his feet. Boston Connor rebounds off the ropes with yet another flying elbow. Boston Connor displaying some debatable skills, I suppose. Cactus Jack rounds him up, spinning neckbreaker from Cactus. And now Cactus raining right hands on the face of Boston Connor. Again drives a knee into the throat of Boston Connor. Cactus Jack starting to really heat up as Boston Connor stands himself back up. Cactus slams his head into the far turnbuckle. Cactus Jack does it again. Cactus Jack with a kick to the midsection and now grinding the face of Boston Connor into the top rope. Cactus Jack sets him up another neckbreaker to Boston Connor. Cactus Jack gathers Boston Connor up again. Another front cradle up over the shoulder and hung up on the top rope. Cactus Jack firmly in control at the present time. Boston Connor about to stand himself up. Cactus Jack whips him to the ropes. He puts on the brakes, counters with an elbow, rebounds off the middle rope, and a beautiful moonsault takes Cactus Jack down to the canvas momentarily. Cactus with a running DDT slams Boston Connor. He is in big trouble. Boston Connor about to catch all kinds of hell from Cactus Jack. Cactus whips him to the ropes. Ducks under, drives a knee into the midsection of Boston Connor. A.J. Hawk again debating whether or not he's going to get directly involved as Cactus Jack goes off the top rope, drives a knee into the chest, and goes for a cover. 1, 2. Another near fall, but Boston Connor getting the right shoulder up just in time. Pretty astounding performance from Boston Connor. But at the present time, Cactus Jack really starting to deliver the punishment to Boston Connor of the toxic table. Terry Funk standing ringside enjoying the show. Cactus charges on a shoulder, takes Boston Connor out to the floor again. The referee begins the count. Cactus Jack rolls out of the ring after Boston Connor. Locks him up. Boston Connor counters, winds up the arm, winds up getting the upper hand, but catches an elbow to the face. Cactus Jack goes behind. Hard shot to the back of Boston Connor. Cactus Jack slams his head into the lip of the apron. Wow. And he's already busted open. Boston Connor rolled back inside the ring by Cactus Jack. Cactus gathers him up. There we go, mandible claw. The mandible claw applied. But too close to the ropes for a pin. Boston Connor slowly getting up to his feet. Cactus Jack sets him up. Got the trunks, and there's the pulling pile driver. Boston Connor is laid out. Has to be absolutely stunned by that pile driver. Cactus Jack covers and hooks the leg. 1, 2, 3. Wrap this one up and take it on home. Cactus Jack defeating Boston Connor by pinfall. Let's get the official time.
Here's the time, 7 minutes and 33 seconds. And your winner, Cactus Jack.
All right, very quickly, Cactus Jack putting a shellacking on Boston Connor. And that's our opening match this evening. We'll be back with a whole lot more RWL Rage when we return from the break. Stay with us.
Well, fans, it had to happen sooner or later, and it finally has. After 7 long months away, it's the return of the LA Panther Girl, and Casey in her return matchup against Mickie James.
And it certainly has been a long time since we've seen Ann Casey in competition.
The next Ladies Legends match is scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Approaching the ring from Nashville, Tennessee, here's Mickie James.
In truth, it has been some time since we've seen either Mickie James or Ann Casey in competition, but it has been a far longer time for the LA Panther Girl, Ann Casey. Mickie James, we have seen her paired up sometimes with AJ Lee, sometimes with Shotzi Blackheart, but she is on her own this evening, one-on-one, against the returning LA Panther Girl, Ann Casey. It has been 7 months away. Her last appearance was the Snarl Women's Championship Tournament, making the finals but attacking Liberty Belle Danielle Heathcote prior to even the bell being rung. And you know how it ended with Liberty Belle Danielle, who still remains till this day the Snarl Women's Champion.
Her opponent from Huntsville, Alabama. Please welcome back the LA Panther Girl, Ann Casey.
She's still one of the longest reigning former Ladies Legends champions, and wow. It's wild to think the Snarl Women's Championship tourney was the last time we've seen the leopard print lovely. Still, here she is.
Ann Casey of Huntsville, Alabama. In case you were wondering, the LA Panther Girl comes from her days at the LA Olympic Coliseum way back in the day.
Wonder if her attitude has improved any. Like maybe she'll stop attacking people out of nowhere like an angry Doberman. Well, it's gonna be a battle of the country gals between her and Mickie James. Let's see if 7 months out of circulation has affected Ann Casey's game at all.
Where on earth's she been, Myron? She didn't say, I didn't ask. There's the bell, Ann Casey. Locks up Mickie James, whips her right into the referee. Mickie James trapped in the far corner. Ann Casey with a series of kicks and a series of driving knees into the midsection of Mickie James. Ann Casey off the middle rope, moonsault, covers and hooks the leg. 1. A 1 only. Mickie James face down on the canvas. Ann Casey takes herself topside. Mickie James turns herself over, double feet right into the midsection, which has been attacked relentlessly by Ann Casey. Mickie James counters with a dragon screw. Rounds up Ann Casey to her feet. Whips her out over the top rope, out onto the floor. Referee Willie Johnson, no doubt, about to initiate the count. Ann Casey catches a face-first flapjack into the floor. Mickie James with a leg snap. Ann Casey Catching the business here from Mickie James. A second leg snap. A stomp to the same leg. Mickie James rounds up Ann Casey. A hard elbow to the face. Ann Casey returned to the ring by Mickie James. Makes her way in herself. Ann Casey in all kinds of pain. Counters. Gets back up on her feet. Mickie James counters. Delivers a series of shots to Ann Casey. Another kick to the same leg. Mickie James relentlessly attacking the limbs of the LA Panther girl all the way up on the top rope. Oh, beautiful crossbody, well executed. Ann Casey with the wind knocked out of her. Mickie James with a series of hard lefts to the face, followed up with a stomp to the midsection. And now a subsequent series of rights and another stomp to the midsection. Mickie James rounds up Ann Casey. Oh, misses with the slap and gets taken down with a clothesline. Ann Casey with a hard forearm lays out Mickie James. Rounds up by the wrist. There's a knee to the face of Mickie James. Ann Casey locks her up, has her up over the shoulders in the fireman's carry position, and a discus punch takes Mickie James down again. Ann Casey quickly off the ropes with another moonsault. The amazing speed of Ann Casey still ever present, despite a 7-month absence. Another wrist clutch knee to the face of Mickie James. Ann Casey rounds her up again. Whips her out again, out onto the floor, slides herself out. Mickie James counters with a kick, takes Ann Casey down to the floor. Ann Casey with a knee to the head of Mickie James. Mickie James rounded up again. Hurled towards the opposing corner, makes her way back inside the ring, does Ann Casey, and slides back out again, restarting the count from referee Willie Johnson. Ann Casey misses with that flying elbow. Mickie James makes her way back inside the ring. Ann Casey rolls herself in. Ann Casey rounded up quickly by Mickie James. There's a couple of kicks. A hard right that takes Ann Casey down to the canvas. Mickie James all the way up on the top. Here we go. Another beautiful crossbody right center ring to Ann Casey. Casey quickly back up on her feet. Quickly countered by Mickie James with a kick. A series of shots and a hurricane run-up to Ann Casey. Mickie James with a knee to the head and a kick to the midsection. Ann Casey slammed face first into the canvas, not once but twice, and a third time for good measure. Mickie James clearly the aggressor at the moment. Ann Casey countering and escaping a bad situation here. A hard forearm takes Mickie James down to the canvas. Ann Casey rounds her up again. Mickie James countering with a series of kicks to that same leg. Whoa! A beautiful spin kick from Mickie James, and here is a cover. 1, 2. A near fall for Mickie James, but no dice. Ann Casey still very much involved in this situation. Mickie James stalking the LA Panther girl. Ann Casey quick with the counter. A series of knees, kicks, and elbows, and down goes Mickie James. Quickly back up on her feet. And look at this beautiful whirling DDT from Mickie James. A flip over neck whip to Ann Casey. Ann Casey charges, catches another face first flapjack. A leg snap from Mickie James and a quick cover. 1, 2, another near fall, but Ann Casey getting the shoulder up. Mickie James returning to the attack here. A series of disrespectful stomps to the face. Ann Casey counters with a kick. Rounds Mickie James back up to a standing position. Rebounds off the ropes. Misses with the flying punch. Mickie James snaps out of it. Catches another kick from Ann Casey. A driving knee into the head of Mickie James. Mickie James catches a series of knees to the leg, perhaps in retaliation from Ann Casey. Casey rounds up Mickie James. A kick, a right, a left, a forearm, and a running kick that takes Mickie James down. And here's another cover. 1, 2. And yet another near fall with Mickey James raising the left shoulder before the count of 3. And Casey with another wrist clutch knee to the head of Mickey James. And now a series of hard rights, mounted punches, and a stomp to the midsection. And Casey with a driving knee, a right, and up over the shoulders into the fireman's carry one more time. And there's a Michinoku driver from Ann Casey. Off the top turnbuckle, beautiful moonsault. The LA Panther girl. Lightning fast, there's another one. And Mickey James, having the wind, just knocked the hell out of her. And Casey slams her face first into the canvas, center ring, covers. 1, 2, 3, and that just about does it. And Casey defeating Mickey James by pinfall.
Here's the time, 6 minutes and 52 seconds, and your winner, and Casey.
Oh, guys, I'll tell you what, there's no sign of ring rust on the LA Panther girl and Casey. Just took Mickey James to the clinic.
He most certainly did, the LA Panther girl, making a most impressive return after 7 months away. Her final appearance before this had been the Snarl Women's Tournament, making the finals but losing to Liberty Bell Danielle Heathcote. But apparently Ann Casey, the former Ladies Legends Champion of long-standing, has returned. And speaking of returning, we'll be back with more RWL Rage right after the break. Stick around. He remains a king without a crown, the $1 Million Man, naked without his $1 Million Championship in the hands of Ric Flair, returning tonight with Jody Vorek at ringside, set to face the Honky Tonk Man, accompanied by the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
DiBiase's looking to let off steam, and the Honky Tonk Man hasn't worked for a while.
This next match is scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle along with Women's International Champion Jody Dvorak from Omaha, Nebraska, weighing 256 pounds, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Old Teddy Boy, still salty AEF, without the $1 Million belt, and he'll be in still one more rematch with Ric Flair in a few weeks. And if he don't get it back, he'll have to wait 90 days, 3 whole months, before he can try to sign for another opportunity. That's gotta be on his mind going into this match with HTM. As for Jody, well, she's just as smug as ever, having sidelined Dakota Kai. She said it herself. This girl is evil from birth.
He is definitely a mean one, Christian.
Setting all of that aside, we are certainly in for a treat here. A terrific Legends Division matchup in the $1 Million Man facing the Honky Tonk Man.
I'm calling it a safe bet nobody here is rooting for the $1 Million Man.
No, indeed, Myron. No, they are not.
His opponent, along with the Mouth of the South Jimmy Hart, from Memphis, Tennessee, weighing 260 pounds, the Honky Tonk Man.
His win-loss record may not be much to write home to mother about, but the fans love the Honky Tonk Man. And some of them love Jimmy Hart too.
The Honky Tonk Man and the Mouth of the South both delighted to be appearing here in Birmingham, Alabama this evening, going into this matchup against the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. And well, as you say, DiBiase has been extremely salty without his $1 Million Championship, and he's going to be taking some of those aggressions out on the Honky Tonk Man if he can. The mean mugging $1 Million Man, and HTM Willie Johnson rings the bell, and this one's off to the races. A jab, a right, another right from Honky Tonk Man, and a clothesline to the back of the head to Ted DiBiase. The Honky Tonk Man, both men missed with their shots. Another jab from HTM. Up over the shoulders goes DiBiase, off into a gutbuster. HTM with another right. Whoa, a hip toss counter from Ted DiBiase. Up on the middle rope, Honky Tonk Man stands up, double axe handle, right across the head of HTM. The $1 Million Man drives a knee into the head of the Honky Tonk Man. Jody Warwick paying some moderate attention to the $1 Million Man as he goes to work on HTM. A chop across the chest, another. A series of lefts and rights. A whip over the top rope, out onto the floor, almost head first into the ring steps. The $1 Million Man following his prey out to the floor. Rounds him up. Drives another knee into the head of the Honky Tonk Man. HTM catching a beating here, a hard right hand right to the face. HTM counters, gets back up on his feet. They walk up. Honky Tonk Man has him up, drives his back into the lip of the apron, and down goes Ted DiBiase. Honky Tonk Man rolls Ted DiBiase back inside the ring, follows him in himself. DiBiase a little quicker on the draw here, has him up, and a pile driver to the Honky Tonk Man. Right on the crown of the head. A leg sweep from HTM. Honky Tonk Man driving a knee into the arm of Ted DiBiase. DiBiase catches a kick. Another series of shots from the Honky Tonk Man, and down goes the million. Whoa, fist drop. Reminiscent of Jerry the King Lawler, a longtime friend of the Honky Tonk Man. HTM takes himself up to the middle rope, drives an elbow right into the head of the $1 Million Man. There's another fist drop from the Honky Tonk Man. $1 Million Man counters, blocks some of those moves, blocks a neck breaker. Honky Tonk Man with a kick and a DDT. Just about center ring. Another fist drop, but fails to connect. DiBiase a step too fast. Another driving knee into the head of the Honky Tonk Man. Honky Tonk Man counters, takes DiBiase down to the mat. Again driving the knee into the arm of the $1 Million Man. A drop kick to the back of the head, a driving knee into the back of the $1 Million Man. The Honky Tonk Man firmly in control of Ted DiBiase at the present time. All the momentum going the way of HTM. Out onto the apron goes DiBiase. Honky Tonk Man gonna bring him in over the top rope the hard way, clubbing overhand right. And the $1 Million Man trying to figure it all out. A driving knee into the back of the head. Honky Tonk Man covers. One. Only a one. Ted DiBiase still with enough wherewithal to power out of the pin, gets himself back to a standing position, locks up the Honky Tonk Man. Gut wrench suplex from Ted DiBiase. Oh, a stomp to the side of the face. And a fist drop. And a second. And a third. DiBiase, a master of that fist drop. The $1 Million Man takes Honky Tonk Man down and into a cloverleaf. Just, torturing the legs and knees of the Honky Tonk Man. Follows it up with a stomp to the leg. Ted DiBiase escorting the Honky Tonk Man close to center ring. Misses with the stomp. Honky Tonk Man right back up on his feet and in his face. DiBiase quick with the counter and a chop block to the back of the knee of the Honky Tonk Man. Ted DiBiase. Oh, here we go. Into a submission here. Honky Tonk Man already bleeding. $1 Million Man. Whoa, Honky Tonk Man. Oh, for a moment I thought he was going to submit. DiBiase rolls him over, goes for the cover here. 1, 2, and as close to a near fall as you can get, but the Honky Tonk Man still in the game here. DiBiase returning to work, follows up with a stomp. Another stomp to the shoulder, and into a blatant choke on the Honky Tonk Man. Again, DiBiase getting out some aggressions. before his next encounter with Ric Flair for the $1 Million Championship. But the Honky Tonk Man pays back the favor with a pile driver of his own. Ted DiBiase somehow still getting back up to his feet. The Honky Tonk Man sets him up. There's the little shake, rattle, and roll. Boom, there it is, that swing and neck breaker. Here's a cover from HTM. 1, 2. Another near fall. What a matchup. What a Legends Division matchup we've got going here. Honky Tonk Man with another fist drop to Ted DiBiase. Honky Tonk Man connects with a couple of shots, has DiBiase up, scoop slams him. Gathers DiBiase up again. DiBiase puts on the brakes, delivers a shot to the midsection. Another. DiBiase with the Honky Tonk Man takes him halfway across and hangs him up on the top rope. The $1 Million Man. Topside and a beautiful crossbody, well executed by Ted DiBiase, who covers. 1, 2. Oh! That was, as Tex would say, a 2.9. Extremely close. DiBiase with a couple of hard rights. Honky Tonk Man up against the ropes. Ted DiBiase takes him down to the mat. Rope-assisted stomp right to the chest of the Honky Tonk Man. Now DiBiase follows it up with a stomp to the face. Ted DiBiase absolutely done playing around here. An elbow to the top of the skull of the Honky Tonk Man. An elbow right to the chest. Follows it up with a stomp. And the $1 Million Man with all the momentum on his side now. DiBiase has Honky Tonk Man up. Hangs him up off the top rope again. Jimmy Hart, the mouth of the South, looking a bit concerned for his man. The Honky Tonk Man in big time trouble here as Ted DiBiase drives repeated knees into the knee of the Honky Tonk Man. Honky counters with a right. HTM tries for the belly to belly. DiBiase puts on the block, takes him down, rounds him back up. Hard right, spins him around. The $1 Million Dream, but too close to the ropes. Referee Willie Johnson calls for the break. DiBiase opts for a cover, but again, too close to the ropes. Ted DiBiase beginning to frustrate somewhat, I think. Honky Tonk Man counters with elbows, backs off the $1 Million Man, connects with a right, has him up in the front cradle, smashes his back into the turnbuckle and hurls him towards center ring. Follows up with a stomp to the midsection. DiBiase counters again with a kick to the leg. Honky Tonk Man counters, nails him with a right, whips DiBiase into the far corner, turns him around head first into the turnbuckle. The Honky Tonk Man, battered and bleeding, but still battling back here. A kick to the leg of Ted DiBiase. DiBiase whipped out over the top rope, out onto the floor, almost head first into the ring steps. I think he might have caught him. Honky Tonk Man takes himself out to the floor to go after Ted DiBiase again. An elbow to the knee. DiBiase counters, shoves him away. Rounds the Honky Tonk Man back up again. And again with the driving knee right into the forehead of the Honky Tonk Man. The referee already counting. Another stomp to the arm. And another elbow drop from the $1 Million Man. Ted DiBiase firmly in control of the situation at this time. Up over the shoulders goes the Honky Tonk Man. And head first into the lip of the apron. Ted DiBiase absolutely battering the head of the Honky Tonk Man. Rolls him back inside the ring. Here comes DiBiase. Honky Tonk Man practically non-responsive at the present time. Here we go, whipped into the far corner. Honky Tonk Man counters, escapes the corner. Rounds up DiBiase, nails him with a backbreaker. Honky Tonk Man battling back again. Escorts DiBiase to the far corner head first. Drapes the leg over. There's another calf kick from the Honky Tonk Man. DiBiase catches a jab right back into the corner. He goes, and Honky Tonk Man going for that leg again. HTM firing back against DiBiase here. Headlock takedown. DiBiase finding himself in sudden trouble at the hands of the Honky Tonk Man. HTM up on the middle rope. How about this here? DiBiase stands up. Double X handle finds the mark. Stomp to the midsection. And the Honky Tonk Man goes for a submission, but too close to the ropes. Tries to drive a knee into DiBiase, but DiBiase a step too fast. Counters with a kick. A right to the midsection. A kick. Tries for the DDT, but Ted DiBiase countering with shots to the midsection. Takes down the Honky Tonk Man center ring, right back into that cloverleaf again. DiBiase working the legs of the Honky Tonk Man. Honky Tonk Man in big time trouble now as DiBiase makes his way to the top turnbuckle. Here we go, elbow drop right across the chest of HTM. Follows up with a stomp and a kick, and another stomp, and another stomp. Whoa, Ted DiBiase lighting it up here. Look at this, a gouge in the face. Willie Johnson checking things out. Honky Tonk Man fighting back here, but it's no use. He is tapping out. That is it. The $1 Million Man defeats the Honky Tonk Man by submission. Wow.
The time was 12 minutes and 52 seconds. Your winner by tap out, Ted DiBiase.
Aw, man. I was kinda hoping HTM would have stuck it out and fought a bit longer, but these guys wore each other out, with the $1 Million Man scoring the submission win. And of course, that's never gonna be good enough for Ted DiBiase. Here comes that $1 Million humiliation ritual. Disgusting sundish.
Mean-spirited, bad sportsmanship. That's what the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase has always been about. And again, scoring a submission victory here tonight over the Honky Tonk Man. And as you point out, Christy, it is a disgusting humiliation ritual.
For real though, Don. What did Arya say? 12 minutes 52 seconds. He's been sweating up a storm for that long, and then he takes that C note and jams it down your gullet? Seriously?
All right, Christy, the $1 Million Man picks up a win over the Honky Tonk Man, and we'll be back with more RWL Rage right after the break. Well, Myron, I'm not sure if you did this on purpose as a gag or whatever, but here it is. What are the odds? Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, the outsiders, facing Stefan Von Berger and the man of the people, Big Jake Blackwell, the insiders.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny.
The following tag team match is scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle, at a combined weight of 575 pounds, the team of Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, the Outsiders.
Sense of humor or not, Myron, I've gone back through the records, and this would be the first time the Outsiders and the Insiders knock heads. So good on you for making it finally happen.
Thank you.
Hall and Nash, still stinging a little from their 4-minute loss to the Snarl Tag champs, the Psychodelics. And they'd love to put it behind themselves with a win over Blackwell and Von Berger.
But that is very hard to achieve. A win over almost any member of the Stronghold has become quite the chore lately.
Which would be another great motivation for them wanting to win. They'd like to get even with the Stronghold.
Say whatever you want about these two. They are a huge part of pro wrestling history. I think Hall and Nash got what it takes to beat Blackwell and Von Berger, but they're gonna have to work for it.
Their opponents, joined by Sylvia Strong, at a combined weight of 560 pounds, RWL International Champion Big Jake Blackwell, and Stefan Von Berger, the Insiders.
Another pair of big-time winners within the Stronghold tag team ranks. The Insiders, Big Jake Blackwell and Stefan Von Berger, accompanied by the lovely Sylvia Strong. And as usual, Big Jake Blackwell sporting the RWL International Championship. Stefan Von Berger still recovering from the loss of the Rage Television Championship to T-Dog Tomasio, who will also be competing later tonight on Rage. That aside, and let's focus on the match at hand. Blackwell and Von Berger certainly have their hands full against Hall and Nash, and they too would like to make it 2-0 against the Outsiders and the Stronghold. Just a brief reminder to you viewers, with this match we will conclude the first hour of tonight's RWL Rage. Thereafter we will return with the second half. Scott Hall and Stefan Von Berger initiating contact here as Willie Johnson rings the bell. Willie caught up by Scott Hall from behind. Look at this, Stefan Von Berger to the rescue, goes behind on Scott Hall and saves Willie Johnson from a fate worse than death. Hung up on the top rope, down goes Scott Hall. Von Berger steps out, his good deed for the day done apparently. Here comes the man of the people, Big Jake Blackwell, spins Scott Hall around, takes him down to the canvas, and a helicopter spin from the international champion with a slap on the top of the head. And here comes Stefan Von Berger again. The insiders playing games with the outsiders here, but Scott Hall doesn't appreciate it. A series of slaps to the chest to Stefan Von Berger, the German technician, catching multiple rib breakers from Scott Hall. The bad guy steps out. In comes big, sexy Kevin Nash. Stefan Von Berger greets him center ring. Swing and a miss from Nash. A series of shots from Stefan Von Berger and a kick takes Nash down to the canvas. Kevin Nash with Von Berger up over his shoulders. The German technician head first into the turnbuckle. Kevin Nash driving the knee right into the throat, bending the neck of Stefan Von Berger at an almost impossible angle. Kevin Nash locks up Von Berger, escorts him to his team's court. Nope, changes his mind, goes the other way around. Big mistake. Von Berger with elbows to Kevin Nash. Von Berger again with that series of martial arts style moves takes him down with another kick. Nash rounded back up to his feet again. A discus punch and down. And I mean down goes Kevin Nash, Sylvia Strong. Watching with admiration as the insiders do their thing. Here comes Big Jake Blackwell again. Kevin Nash taking a beating at the hands of both members of the insiders. Dragon screw from Nash. Nash gathers up Big Jake Blackwell. Blackwell going for the ride here. Whoa, big time to the outside. Kevin Nash coming out after his prey here. Swings and misses. Double choke lift, but a gouge of the face from Blackwell. A hard shot to the back. And a side suplex. Big Jake Blackwell. Look at this. Whoa. What a brain buster. Oh man, Big Jake Blackwell. Through playing games here. Takes himself back inside the ring. Kevin Nash is laid out, getting himself back up on his feet. Takes himself back inside the ring, thus breaking the count. Blackwell countered by Kevin Nash. Nash locks him up. Up over the shoulder again goes Big Jake Blackwell, again going for the ride. The top rope. Nash with a hard, stunning right. Blackwell counters with a kick. Blackwell drives Nash's head into the turnbuckle here. Takes himself up to the top turnbuckle. Look at this reverse dragon sleeper, just hanging Kevin Nash out to dry. Blackwell with a stomp to the midsection. Now with an armbar on Kevin Nash. Well, so far, it's a fair match between both teams. Kevin Nash counters, escapes the hold. Locks up Blackwell. Again. Over. Big Jake Blackwell going for that ride on that top rope yet again. Kevin Nash Escorts Blackwell to his team's corner. Puts him in it. Blackwell counters and escapes. Charges. Look at this beautiful wraparound DDT. Face first into the canvas goes Kevin Nash, and here comes Stefan von Berger. The big man from Heidelberg, Germany. Rounds up Nash. Big time clothesline. He spun Kevin Nash around. Absolutely amazing. Nash counters, gets back to his feet somehow. A clothesline takes Von Berger down. Here comes Scott Hall. Von Berger right there to greet him. Scott Hall with Von Berger hung up over his shoulders. And this is going to be bad. Scott Hall power bombs Von Berger out onto the floor. With absolutely, look at this, the arrogance of Scott Hall. Takes himself to the outside to round up Stefan von Berger. Has him up. Atomic drop. Scott Hall with a stomp to the face of Stefan von Berger. Von Berger driven into the ring steps. Scott Hall takes himself back inside. Willie Johnson continuing to count Stefan von Berger. And the momentum for the time has shifted towards the outsiders. Hall and Nash appearing to be a little bit more dominant here. What a distance punch. Taking Stefan von Berger down. Von Berger makes his way back up to a standing position. Rolls himself back inside before Scott Hall. Drives in a knee, a kick, a right, a chop. Another kick takes Scott Hall down. And what a forearm. Shivering out Scott Hall. Big Jake Blackwell brought in on the tag. Scott Hall catches the stomp. Blackwell again going right into that armbar, but the referee calling for the break. Blackwell going right back at that same arm and snaps it. Big Jake Blackwell very aggressive in this matchup against Hall and Nash. Look at this. Stretching the bad guy. Big Jake Blackwell. Extremely aggressive. He steps out, and here comes Stefan von Berger to try and pick apart Scott Hall. Scott Hall counters with a right. Rounds up Von Berger, slams him down one arm. Scott Hall tags in Kevin Nash. Von Berger back up. Whoa, what a hip toss from big Kevin Nash. A big driving knee right into the head of Stefan von Berger. Followed up with a stomp to the arm. Kevin Nash catches a jawbreaker from Von Berger and a knee right to the shelf of the jaw. Wow. Von Berger whips him to his team's corner. There's a kick to the ribs. Drives Kevin Nash's head back into the turnbuckle again. And now a series of driving knees into the ribs of Kevin Nash. Man, Stefan von Berger also turning it up here a notch. Driving all his weight into the chest of Kevin Nash. Takes it all the way up and drives both knees into the chest of Big Sexy. Wow. Stefan von Berger definitely taking it up a notch. In lockstep with his tag team partner, Big Jake Blackwell. Little wonder the Insiders, former tag team champions in their own right. Blackwell watching as Stefan von Berger tags him in. He knew it was time. Whoa, a stunner to Kevin Nash, and he went out 1, 2, almost 3. Not sure how Kevin Nash found his way out of that situation. Blackwell shoved away by Kevin Nash back up to a standing position. Rounds up Big Jake Blackwell. Blackwell with elbows to Kevin Nash. Nash caught up, belly-to-belly suplex. Big Jake Blackwell showing off a little bit of that power. Blackwell escorts Kevin Nash to his team's corner, head first into the turnbuckle yet again. And one more time, just to make sure he don't forget. Look at this. Blackwell right into that inverted dragon sleeper again, just hanging Kevin Nash out to dry, and down he goes again. gasping for air, no doubt. Big Jake Blackwell rounds him up. Double choke toss to Kevin Nash. And here comes Stefan Von Berger. Kevin Nash trying to reach Scott Hall for the tag and finally succeeds in doing it. Von Berger with a running kick takes down Scott Hall. Referee counting Kevin Nash. Von Berger off the ropes. Flying fist takes down Scott Hall. And here comes Big Jake Blackwell against Sylvia Strong, just cheering the boys on. Knee to the midsection from Scott Hall. Hall winds up the arm, slaps the back of the head of Big Jake Blackwell. Now Blackwell catching a couple of rib breakers here from the bad guy. Scott Hall tags out. Here comes Kevin Nash. To their credit, the Outsiders also tagging very efficiently, working very efficiently as a unit. A series of shots. Blackwell puts on the brakes. Look at Scott. Look at Kevin Nash. He is bleeding badly. A chop across the chest of Blackwell, an elbow to the side of the head. Blackwell driven into the turnbuckle himself. Kevin Nash has him up. Drops him head first into the buckle. And here we go. Kevin Nash calling for it. There's that jackknife powerbomb coming up. Blackwell in big time trouble. Slammed down hard. Kevin Nash covers. 1, 2. Wow, I don't believe it. Big Jake Blackwell powering out of that. Nash misses the kick. Blackwell with a beautiful double arm suplex. Blackwell escorts Kevin Nash towards his team's corner and yet again introduces him to that turnbuckle. Nash, sick and tired of it, retaliates with a series of shots. Blackwell with another stunner to Kevin Nash. Down he goes. Here's another cover. 1, 2, almost 3, but Scott Hall there to save the day for his team. Scott Hall catches it from Blackwell. Cravat suplex. Practically dumps him on top of Kevin Nash. And here comes Stefan Von Berger. Whoa-ho! Superman punch. Down goes Nash. Von Berger covers. 1, 2, 3, and wow, the Insiders pulling off another great win.
Here's the time, 11 minutes and 35 seconds. And your winners, the Insiders.
Well, chalk up another win for the Stronghold over Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. Von Berger and Blackwell prevailing here over the Outsiders, while the Insiders are victorious.
Alright, so the idea was kind of silly, but you gotta admit, it was a damn good match.
That it certainly was, Myron. Ladies and gentlemen, that takes care of the first half of tonight's RWL Rage. We will return after the break with the second half, and we sure hope to see you there.